Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. Thank you so much for joining me here on this fine Saturday morning. I'm here with my co-host, Brandon Como. Brandon, how are you this week?
Doing well, Doc. Doing well. I'm really looking forward to today's show. I know we were talking a few minutes before you started, and it's a topic that really impacts a lot of people, and it's something that they really should be paying attention to this morning.
Man, I know. We're going to switch gears a little bit today. Brandon and I were talking. We're going to talk about the number one reason that people visit their doctor. And outside of every other health problem out there, this is the number one reason that brings people to the doctor in today's society, and that is some form of digestive problem. Now, most people would never think that, but if you think about it, the digestive system of Americans are a complete mess. There's 60 to 70 million people affected with some sort of a digestive problem, and the truth is it's way more than that. If you add up all of the folks that carry Tums in their pockets, or they suffer and don't seek help, or maybe they just don't eat spicy foods they work around their digestive problems and don't address it, there's millions and millions of more people out there that are doing that. But just with hospitalizations, there's 21 million hospitalizations a year for digestive issues, costing $200 billion. So this is a huge issue. And if you add up the Crohn's disease, the ulcerative colitis, the IBS, the pancreatitis and pancreas cancer and stomach cancers and diverticulitis and constipation, I mean, it just goes on and on. The colon cancers. My goodness, our digestive health in America is in a complete shambles. And the rates are increasing every single year. So our digestive health is rapidly worsening. People are getting sicker, and their digestive health is getting worse and worse. And here's the problem with that. It's physically impossible to have an unhealthy digestive system and a healthy body, or a healthy rest of you. We used to think that the digestive system just diagnosed our food and broke our food down so it could be absorbed. But we now know that it does so much more than that. It's integral in every part of our body, especially our immune systems and our hormonal system and our brain health. And, almost every other system in your body relies on your digestive system to work correctly. That is your fuel for all of your cellular processes. And so many people out there have digestive issues, and they just continue to go on without solutions for them, or they think that they have to live with them. And so if you ask the average person on the street, do you know somebody with really great digestion? Most Americans would have a really hard time telling you somebody they know that has great digestion. So this is a huge problem. Now, because the fact that most people have such a bad digestive system, that leads to worse problems in their health down the road that they don't ever relate those to. They don't realize that digestive problem that they've had for, 5 years that they've been ignoring is now causing hormonal problems or brain health problems or dementia or some other issue down the road. So today's show is going to be all about natural solutions to all of these digestive conditions and disorders. Our Digestive Solutions program that we've come up with at Bryant Wellness is really second to none, and we figured out the underlying reasons for almost all of these digestive issues. And honestly, the way that we're looking at most of these problems in traditional American medicine is all wrong. They have it exactly 180 degrees backwards of what we should be doing with digestive problems. So remember that our digestive system is more than just breaking our food down. 80% of immunity takes place in our gut. Hormones that control depression and anxiety, like serotonin, are made in the gut. Thyroid hormone is activated in the gut. And so we used to think that our digestive system just broke our food down, but it's much more involved than that. And as you're going to see today on the show, our digestive system is intricately involved in many other systems in your body. And that's why it's a physiological impossibility to have an unhealthy gut and a healthy patient, or a healthy person. You can't have the two. So we have to begin to rebuild the digestive system from the ground up. And that's basically what our program does. We start and rebuild the digestive system in the way that it was designed to work. And so our new digestive restoration program has to be part of any comprehensive wellness strategy because the gut is so intricately involved in every other aspect of the health. And that's what today's show is going to be all about, digestive health. How do we rebuild this digestive system from the ground up? And what you're going to see today is that the way traditional medicine is treating digestive disorders makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So out of all of the digestive conditions that I listed earlier, and I think I listed 15 or 20 of them, almost all digestive symptoms and diseases come from 3 underlying conditions or problems. So out of the list of every digestive system problem you can think of, there are 3 underlying causes, and I'm going to give you those 3 secrets on the show today. Now, these 3 underlying problems are low stomach acid, unrecognized food sensitivities, and leaky gut syndrome. Every health condition that you can name to me, we can trace it back to one of these 3 conditions, or maybe all of them. I don't care if it's Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, acid reflux, or hiatal hernia. I'm here to tell you, almost every single digestive problem can boil down to either low stomach acid, food sensitivities, or leaky gut syndrome. And I'm going to explain what each one of those are on the show today so that you get a better understanding of what those 3 things mean. But just know that your digestive system, if your digestive system is unhealthy, then you're in real trouble. A healthy digestive system is critical to you living a long, healthy, disease-free life. So if you're one of those that carries Tums in your pocket and just ignores it, or, changed your diet so that your digestive system functions as good as possible, or if you're ignoring these digestive problems, you really need to take a second look at that, because this will lead to much worse problems down the road. So when we get back from this break, I'm going to explain to you why low stomach acid is actually the main problem. Now, people think that these acid pump inhibitors like Nexium and Prilosec, by the way, that's one of the top selling medications on the planet, second only to cholesterol medicine as the top selling drugs in America. But if low acid is the problem, why is that? So we're going to talk about that right after this next break. But yes, most Americans have low stomach acid, yet we're taking pump inhibitors like these Nexium and Prilosec by the handfuls. So right after this break, I'm going to explain why that is and that we're looking at digestive systems all wrong. We have it 180 degrees backwards. You're listening to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. If you know somebody with digestive issues, text them right now and tell them to tune in. I'm going to tell them 3 secrets to digestive issues after this break, and they're going to want to hear those. So if you know somebody with digestive issues, call them or text them and tell them to tune in. I don't care if it's Crohn's disease or acid reflux or GERD or ulcers. They need to hear this. So stay tuned right after this break. I'm going to lay this whole digestive thing out for you when we get back. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Bryant Wellness Institutes. We're Louisiana's most advanced functional medicine institutes, and that means that we use the latest techniques available to treat today's worst, most complicated health problems without drugs or surgery whatsoever. So whatever health problem you're suffering with, just know that natural solutions do exist, even if you feel like you've tried everything. We've made profound advancements over the last 5 or 10 years in the field of natural health care. So don't give up. Continue to look. Don't let one doctor's opinion that you have to live with your health problems discourage you from trying something different. We have solutions to so many of these health problems, and I'm telling you, you're not just unlucky and doomed to suffer with health problems for the rest of your life. I believe with every fiber of my being that people develop health problems for a reason. And if you discover the reason, if you get to the why, get to the underlying problem, the body can heal. Our bodies were designed to repair and heal. And if that's not happening, there's a reason. It's not that you're just unlucky and have to suffer with acid reflux. There's a reason for that. Or that you're just unlucky and we're doomed to have Crohn's disease. That doesn't make sense. Just that no one has spent the time to sit down with you and really figure out what the underlying reasons at a cellular level that your body is breaking down and get to the real underlying issues of why your particular body is malfunctioning. So before the break, I mentioned that the three main problems with almost every patient's digestive issues are low stomach acid, unrecognized food sensitivities, and leaky gut syndrome. I don't care what digestive problem you have, I can break it down to one of those three problems or a combination of those three. And so first, I'm going to address this issue of stomach acid. Now, I want to appeal to you guys' common sense whenever we talk about this, because almost everybody you talk to these days takes Nexium or Prilosec or carries Tums in their pocket. And that's because they have too much stomach acid, right? So according to traditional medicine, you either have normal stomach acid or you have too much stomach acid. And that's the only two options. And if you have acid reflux or ulcers or any stomach problem, you need these pump inhibitors, these acid pump inhibitors, so they shut down your acid pumps in your stomach, like Nexium and Prilosec. So your stomach acid is bubbling up in your esophagus, right? That makes sense. Let's hold on a second. Let's think this through. Now, I know you guys have heard me say in the past that Americans are in this fight or flight stress response. Almost everybody you talk to is go, 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 stress, 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 right? Now, so that stress causes them to have acid reflux. The theory for 30 years has been that people have too much stomach acid and that stress causes them to need Tums or Nexium. And I want you guys to know that that's actually not possible. Stress causes your body to go into fight or flight response. And when the body goes into fight or flight response, the stress response of the body is to shut down your acid pump cells. Stress response is to lower stomach acid to stop digestion, not to increase stomach acid to improve digestion. So almost all Americans are stuck in what we call sympathetic dominance, which means that basically you're stuck in this stress response. So we're stuck in fight or flight response. I think that's pretty common knowledge, and almost every health practitioner agrees that Americans are overstressed. So, that's not even debatable. In fact, 87% of the patients that we test are stuck in this stress response. Okay, so if everyone is stuck in this fight or flight stress response, if everybody has too much stress, then answer this question. If the body's response to stress, to fight or flight, is to shut down the acid pumps and to shut down digestion. So sympathetic is an emergency mode. It's a crisis mode. It's a fight or flight stress response. And the response to the body of that is to shut off our digestive system, because we don't need to be digesting our food. We don't need to be producing stomach acid. I'm in an emergency stress fight or flight condition here. So if I'm an animal and I'm being chased by a predator, my body goes into this emergency mode called fight or flight. And you're either in fight or flight mode where you have no stomach acid and your digestion shuts down, or you're in calm, resting, digesting mode, which is more parasympathetic activity. So my point that I'm trying to prove here is that you don't have too much stomach acid. You have too little. Your acid pumps have shut down. So then why is Nexium the second highest selling drug in America? Where's all this acid coming from? So here's the truth. When you eat food, let's say you're eating food while, like we all have a tendency to do, you're stuck in traffic, you're talking to your boss on the speakerphone, or you're worried about your kids doing poorly in school, or you're stressing about your bills, and, you're doing all this at the same time. And when you swallow that food, that has caused your acid to shut down. So the food sits there, and you get what we call food rot. And that means that your food does not get digested, and it sits there and ferments very quickly. And when food ferments and starts to rot, it gives off an organic acids from the actual food itself. So, for example, have you ever left food like out on in the bottom drawer of the refrigerator and you forgot about it? And you go back and look at it and there's like this pool of liquid underneath that food? That is organic acids. That is the acid that food has released from going bad. So I'm telling you today that acid reflux is very likely from the organic acids from your undigested food giving off this acid because of your lack of stomach acid. And that's what happens. Now, when you go take Nexium, all that basically does is help move that undigested food further down the digestive tract. So it just pushes it through. So you do feel better. But you end up with undigested food moving through the digestive system, which leads to worse and worse digestive issues down the road and further down the digestive tract. So yes, I'm telling you that you do not have too much stomach acid causing your acid reflux disease. In fact, you likely have too little. And the acid that you feel is from the off-gassing of the organic acids in your undigested food bubbling up into your esophagus. So things like when this undigested food moves down the digestive tract, things like irritable bowel syndrome and Crohn's and colitis and any of these other problems develop because of this undigested food going through your system. Now, it's also likely that you have low stomach acid and you don't have acid reflux, but you're still sending poorly digested food down through the rest of your system, causing colon problems and small intestine problems and things on down the line. So you don't necessarily have to have acid reflux from this low stomach acid. You could have IBS or Crohn's or colitis or any of these other problems, and you don't actually know it. So these are the facts. It's a proven physiological fact that stress shuts down our acid pumps. I mean, that's in every medical book I've ever seen. So 87% of the people that we check are stuck in this stress response. And on a national average, probably 80 to 90% of Americans are as well. So that means that you have too little stomach acid. Now, here's the really cool part of all this. There's a simple little home test you can do to see if you have low stomach acid. And so what we do is we take a solution of baking soda and water in a certain ratio. And we have you drink that first thing in the morning when your stomach acid should be at its highest before you eat or drink anything. Now, when you mix a baking soda with an acid, so when you mix an acid with a basic, what it's going to do is it's going to bubble up and produce a gas, which would show up as a burp. So we have you drink this solution and time how long it takes you to start to have this, burping kind of sensation. And if it takes longer than 5 minutes, that means that you don't have very good stomach acid at all. And so that's a good, simple little test that we can do to see exactly how much stomach acid you have. So we have instructions on how to do this. You have to do it exactly the right way and use a timer and all that. But the point with all of that, though, is, ladies and gentlemen, you have low stomach acid, not high stomach acid, and that leads to poorly digested food, low energy, and chronic health problems. And worse than that, this low stomach acid may have contributed to many other problems, including leaky gut syndrome, which we'll talk about after this next break. But you probably have low stomach acid, not too much. And this is an easy fix. We have a protocol where, we can take someone with low stomach acid and fix that very easily. And so we can solve so many of these digestive systems by just, adding a few things in to fix this acid pump inhibitors in the body. And yes, we have it 180 degrees backwards. We're treating patients for high stomach acid when most of them have low. You're listening to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Bryant Wellness Institutes. Now, if you're interested in talking to me about this, if you want to see if my methods might be able to help you, all you have to do is call my office at 837-7174. It's real simple. Leave your name and number on my voicemail. And when I get back to work Monday, I will personally call you back to discuss what's going on with you to see if I think my methods would help you. It will be me on the phone calling you. And if I ever feel like I can't help you, I won't waste your time or money. So if you want me to give you a call Monday personally to talk to you about what's going on with your health, I would be more than happy to do that to see if I think that my methods might be right for you. So that number again was 837-7174. That's 837-7174. Now, if you're closer to our New Iberia office, the number over there is 367-2567. And when we get back from this break, I'm going to discuss probably one of the biggest health problems in America, leaky gut syndrome. So you don't want to miss this. This is a huge health problem in America. That number again is 837-7174. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. We're discussing digestive problems on the show today. And so far, I have proven to you that most Americans have low stomach acid, not high stomach acid. And that all of this acid reflux and Tums and all this stuff that people take is from the off-gassing of their undigested food, not from overactive acid pump cells in their stomach. We've got it 180 degrees backwards.
So, Doc, I wanted to ask you about probiotics because I hear probiotics all the time. I mean, we have probiotics in our food, in some of our foods, vegetables and yogurts and probiotics and fiber. But there's also pills that you can pick up from the pharmacy or whatever. So I've heard where probiotics are good for you, but I've also heard where if you take too much, it can be a bad thing. What would you suggest as far as probiotics go, as far as taking supplements in pill form for probiotics? I know obviously you recommend eating right to be able to get the right probiotics out of that, but how much probiotics do you recommend that somebody get? How do you kind of manage that to make sure you're not taking too much?
Yeah, that's a great question. I hear that from patients all the time. They ask me about their probiotics, and that really leads into this next subject of leaky gut syndrome that I'm about to go into, because probiotics are great. They have a place, but if you're taking probiotics and you have leaky gut syndrome, they're not a good thing to do at all. And you'll understand why once I explain what leaky gut syndrome actually is. But if you can eat high probiotic foods like, yogurts and fermented foods, that's fine. But if you're going to swallow a pill of probiotics, you want to do it at the right time. Because if you have this leaky gut syndrome, you're dumping raw bacteria right into your bloodstream. And that's not a good thing to do. So basically, what leaky gut syndrome means, and by the way, the standard American diet is the perfect prescription to give someone this leaky gut syndrome. So what does that mean? Well, if you will picture a tube, which is our digestive tract, and the food that we eat is supposed to stay in our digestive tract until it's fully broken down to its smallest component. So in that tube, which is our digestive tract, there are little pores like a coffee filter. And as our food gets small enough so that it can be absorbed by our bloodstream, it should get through that filter and go into our bloodstream. So our blood runs right next to our digestive tract, obviously. And there's a barrier between your digestive system and your blood system. And that food should filter through at its smallest components. Now, if I swallow a bite of chicken, that chicken should be broken down into its very smallest components called amino acids. And then those amino acids should pass through that barrier of the digestive tract and get into my bloodstream to be used. If I swallow a piece of broccoli, that broccoli should be broken down into its smallest carbohydrates and sugars and passed into my bloodstream to be used. So our digestive tract lining is a barrier between our undigested food and everything we swallow and our bloodstream. It's like this coffee filter that lets some coffee through and keeps the grinds out. Now, leaky gut means that the lining of your digestive tract has been damaged, and that has created holes right through that gut lining. It would almost be like if your coffee filter had a tear in it and you got grounds in your coffee that didn't belong there. That's exactly what leaky gut is. So these holes are these tears or these openings in our gut causes that food to get through and into our bloodstream early. So instead of our chicken being broken down to an amino acid, you end up with a piece of chicken floating around in your bloodstream. Instead of that broccoli being broken down to its smallest carbohydrates, you get a chunk of broccoli floating around in your bloodstream. Your body cannot recognize that as nutrition. And you create this systemic immune system reaction to go destroy that. It's now a foreign object in your bloodstream. It's no longer a food item. Your body can't recognize a chunk of chicken that's not broken down to amino acids as something that it can turn into nutrition. So that food never gets used for energy. In fact, it costs you energy because your immune system killer cells have to go activate and go destroy that food and carry it away and get rid of it as if it were a foreign object in your bloodstream. So this is a major energy drainer. Imagine every time you eat, it's like just draining your energetic system because for two reasons. Because number one, you don't make energy off of that food. And number two, it costs you energy because you're having to go destroy and attack and get rid of that food through your immune system. It's also a major irritant to the immune system, leading to autoimmune issues. And so imagine every time you eat, it activates your immune system to have to go destroy and carry away these foods. So it's like every time you eat, it's like poking the bear of your immune system to irritate it. So basically, it's like injecting chicken particles directly into your bloodstream. Yeah, sounds pretty gross. It's not good for you at all. So every time you're eating, you're creating this huge inflammatory response. And this makes your immune system get madder and madder until it begins to attack your own cells. And we call this autoimmune disease. Autoimmune diseases are rising at an unprecedented rate. Hashimoto's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, MS, Crohn's disease, lupus, psoriasis, all of these things are increasing at an alarming rate. And this is one major factor in that is what is making the immune system so irritated every day that it's turned against the body and started to attack and kill part of its own body and, part of your own cells. But when every time you eat, you're inflaming your body and you're creating this immune system sensitivity. This is a huge problem in America. Guys, listen, almost 100% of the patients that we test have some degree of leaky gut syndrome. And the reason that's happening is one major cause of leaky gut syndrome is the herbicide Roundup. Roundup, it's now proven that Roundup rips right through your gut lining and creates holes and tears in your digestive tract, causing leaky gut syndrome. Now, Roundup is in absolutely everything. It's in our water. It's on the ground. It's even in the organic foods that I eat. And it's so widely used in South Louisiana. It's one of the highest concentrations in the world of Roundup. So yeah, almost every patient that we test for has some form of leaky gut syndrome. And every time we eat, we're provoking our immune system and causing this systemic autoimmune reaction, which will eventually go haywire against us. And that's a huge problem when you think about how many times we eat and how irritating that is to the immune system and to the body. And especially when you consider the fact that 80% of the immune regulation occurs in the gut. So the gut is a huge battlefront where the fight for health begins, folks. And if we don't have a good digestive system, if we don't have healthy gut function, your chance of ever achieving your highest level of health is not very good. So we have to have proper gut health as part of any comprehensive wellness program. You know, the gut is a huge battlefront where regaining your health begins. I don't care what health problem you have with. This is a huge battlefront in the fight for health and disease. Gut health is critically important, and I can't stress that enough. So the thing with probiotics is if your gut is leaking, that's bacteria. Now, granted, they're good bacteria, but they're meant to stay in your digestive tract. So what happens, these good bacteria spill out of your digestive tract and get in your bloodstream. So that's going to make your body have to react to that. So even though, yes, they're healthy bacteria, they're only healthy bacteria for your gut lining, not to be injected into your bloodstream. So again, be cautious with this constant use of probiotics. They're great. We use them in our office all the time, but there's a time and place to use them. And we use them all the time, but you have to know when and it's different for every single patient on what their individual, kind of set of conditions are. And that's one of these things where the devil lies in the details. And you don't want to just go start throwing supplements at the body to see what happens. And that's what most people do. They'll go to the big box store, they'll go somewhere and grab some probiotics and grab a vitamin and, hope it'll make them start feeling better. And the devil lies in the details with this stuff, guys. You have to really know what's going on in the body. And, having an expert like myself that knows each one of these steps and what needs to be done first really makes a world of difference. In order to restore someone's digestive system, we really need to do things in order. You have to rebuild it from the ground up, like I was talking about in our opening segment. And we have one of the only natural products that has ever been proven to heal the lining of the gut. And so we can give you this supplement, and it will help rebuild those cellular linings along the digestive tract. So we have destroyed our digestive system to the point to where all of these other health problems are starting to occur. And you have to have a comprehensive strategy whenever it comes to rebuilding and restoring someone's digestive system. And so our program uses this multifaceted approach where we have to look at all of these things as sort of one system. You don't want to just, throw probiotics at your body and see what happens and see if you feel better. You may feel better temporarily, but you could be actually making worse things happen down the road. And remember that 80% of immunity occurs in the gut. Thyroid hormone is built in the gut. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter for anxiety and depression, is built in the gut. And the gut is the place where severe energy loss happens in most patients that we see in our office today. And many of them don't even realize it. So in order for us to be healthy, we must have this constant, never-ending supply of energy. And that energy starts with a healthy digestive tract. So in order for you to achieve a higher level of health, the body must have proper digestion. Now, if you want to have a phone conversation with me about your particular health problems to see if I think that my methods might be able to help you, all you have to do is call my office at 837-7174, and I will personally call you back Monday and talk to you a little bit more about my program, find out what's going on with your health, what the roadblocks you've been having to achieve a higher level of health, kind of what roadblocks you have in your way or what you've struggled with. I don't care if your goal is weight loss or acid reflux or Crohn's disease or an autoimmune or whatever. Whatever that condition is, we'll take a look at it and see what we can do. The number's 837-7174. And if we can discover each one of these co-causes that's causing you to lose your health, and we can figure out what each one of those co-causes are, then we begin to have a conversation about how to rebuild your health once and for all, where you can regain your health and not just treat symptoms. That number is 837-7174. Now, when we get back from this short break, I'm going to talk to you about unrecognized food sensitivities that could be creating chaos in your body right now. So don't go away. Welcome back to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. I appreciate all of you joining us today on the show. And I hope that I've been able to dispel some of the common myths out there about digestive problems. We're looking at this 180 degrees backwards, guys. People have low stomach acid, not high stomach acid. And almost every American has some degree of leaky gut syndrome. And then lastly, people are suffering with unrecognized food sensitivities. And so what is that? Unrecognized food sensitivities means that you may have a food that your body sees as abnormal or sees as something that should not be there, and it wants to go and attack it. So if you eat that food that your body is intolerant to, your body will create this immune system response, and it will send killer immune cells to go attack and kill that food as if it were a virus or a bacteria. And this is compounded by leaky gut syndrome, because not only is that food that your body doesn't recognize or recognizes as something bad, not only is it in your digestive tract, but now it's in your bloodstream. So it makes it even that much worse. So what that means is that you may eat a food that your body does not want to be there. It might be corn, it might be wheat, it might be dairy. There's the only way to know is to test you. But our foods now are simply not what they used to be. We have all these genetically modified, Roundup ready Frankenstein foods, I call them, that, for example, so what Monsanto Seed did, who I refer to as the evil empire of the food industry, what Monsanto Seed did is they took a perfectly healthy soybean, and then what we think happened was they spliced a virus DNA onto the end of the soybean DNA. So what you end up with is part soybean, part virus. And then what we think they did on the other end of the soybean's genetic structure is they spliced on portion of a bacteria onto it. So you have part soybean, part virus, part bacteria is genetically what you're eating. It's not a soybean anymore. It's partially a soybean, but it's also partially a virus, and it's also partially a bacteria. And the reason that they do that is so they can spray more Roundup on it and it won't kill it. And that's what we're eating, guys. No wonder that other countries won't even take our food anymore. It's called Roundup Ready. It makes a beautiful field of soybeans. It has an unbelievable yield per acre. It makes huge amounts of beautiful soybeans, and the farmers love it. But food allergies and sensitivities are through the roof. Roundup has now been proven to cause cancer, and Roundup has also now been proven, as I said earlier, to cause leaky gut syndrome. They spray it by the thousands of tons. Now listen, I love our farmers. I want our farmers to do well. I have family members that are farmers. Don't get me wrong. And I understand they're only doing what everyone else does. And I want our farmers to succeed. And I understand they have to do what everybody else does or they won't be able to compete. But I don't think that genetically modified Roundup Ready food is what we should be feeding our families. I have a drawer full of research that proves that Monsanto Seed faked studies, falsified records, and it literally destroyed the digestive systems of some of the rats that was being studied. And they falsified the records to show that it didn't. Now, if it can destroy a rat's digestive system that was designed to eat garbage, imagine what it's doing to ours. So when I call Monsanto Seed the evil empire of the food industry, now you know why. But truthfully, our digestive systems need to be rebuilt from the ground up. And we can now test you for these unrecognized food sensitivities. And the neat thing about this is that we have a lab where we'll get a report back that has 96 different food items on there. And if you have any of these unrecognized food sensitivities, what that means is when you eat that food, your body will create this immune system response, and it will go attack and try to destroy that food like if it were a virus, probably because it may have partially a virus in it. And the bad part about this is it can take 3 to 4 days for this immune system response to kick in. So people think of, well, I feel bad today. I didn't eat anything different for breakfast. It could have been something that you ate on Monday and you're feeling bad on Thursday. And you'll never be able to work that out without testing you. So we can now test the body for 96 different food items, and we get a list back, and it'll have all 96 items on it, and it will have a 3, 2, 1, and 0. The 3s are foods you're severely intolerant to, and then so on. The 2s are moderate, the 1s are mild, and the 0s are food that your body reacted well to. So when we're creating your nutritional plan, I can pick those foods that your body responds really well to. But again, this needs to be a part of a comprehensive strategy to solve these complex digestive problems from the ground up. We have to rebuild the gut from the ground up, and that's so important. Well, if you like what you heard today and you want to talk to me about your particular health problems, I'd be happy to call you back when I get to the office Monday and have a phone conversation with you to see if I think my methods might be able to help you. And guys, listen, if I don't think I can help you, I won't waste your time. I mean, if I ever feel like that you're not a fit for us or we're not a fit for you, I won't waste your time. My purpose is to try to help as many people as possible get relief from these complex health problems that no one else is willing to spend the time to do. So just ask yourself, am I healthier now than I was 2 years ago? Is my health headed in the right direction? If it's not, we need to try to turn this around, because once you lose your health, sometimes it's not easy to get back, and sometimes it's not able to be returned. So we have proven common sense strategies to restore your digestive tract and your health from the ground up. And remember, you can't have an unhealthy digestive system and a healthy person. The two are just too intertwined. The digestive tract is just too important for every other part of your body. So you can call my office at 837-7174 and leave your name on my machine. And when I get back to work Monday, I will personally give you a call to talk to you a little bit about what's going on. Now, if you call, please have your phone by you Monday, because I am, when I have some time, going to give you a call as early in the day as I possibly can get to it. I'll give you a call back and we can talk about ways that I think that, we might be able to restore your system and solve whatever health problem that you're suffering with. So the office number is 837-7174. That's 837-7174. Or you can join me on Facebook. I do a show on Thursdays at noon called Dr. Kevin Live and Online. You can ask me questions right there on our Bryant Wellness Institute's Facebook page. You could join in the conversation in real time. So I wanted to invite you to tune in Thursdays at noon and catch my Facebook show. You've been listening to Get Well Acadiana with Dr. Kevin. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Bryant Wellness Institutes. And that phone number again was 837-7174. Thank you guys for listening. Tune in for more health tips next Saturday right here, same time, same channel. Thank you all. Have a great weekend.